You know, it was a good company to work for. In the earlier years when we worked here, it was very family-oriented. You came here, you worked with people, you got to know them. They became like your family. So, I mean, it was all in all a very good career. I started at what is now Sanofi. It was Connaught Labs at the time. And my brother worked here. And when I graduated high school, I was looking for a job, and my brother had already worked here for 2 years. He worked in the Animal Resources Department, and they were looking for young students. They were ready to train. They were very willing to train people right out of high school. So I was actually trained on the job for everything I learned here. Who hired me was a man named Boris Kamaki. It was in the polio Sabin vaccine department. And at that time I learned tissue culture. The department was divided up into 3 areas, which was the tissue culture area, the virus production area, and the purification area. And so I was put in the tissue culture area where we trypsinites kidney cells and produce a cell suspension to grow the poliovirus on. The training at that time was very much on the job. The people that had been doing the job showed you exactly how to do it. It was more of an informal training to what we have now because it wasn't particularly documented. You just stayed with one person and you worked with them and you learned how to do the job directly from the person that was doing it. Connaught was very family-oriented. You learned a lot of things from people that had been here for many years, and it was interesting, and they were anxious for people to stay, so they welcomed a lot of young people. At the time I was hired in 1975, and they were hiring a lot of young people my age, and they wanted you to stay. So it was a good place to work. And good money as well compared to any other job that you could get at the time. As I said, I started in Sabin production in 1975. I worked there for 2 years, learned a lot of the tissue culture. Then I moved to the MSCP production in Building 53 at the time. I worked there for probably 2 years as well. And then I moved on to the safety testing of polio vaccine. And I worked in safety testing for almost 7 or 8 years. And then I moved on to into more testing. That was the serology department, and I worked there. And then I moved back. I was probably in serology for, I'm guessing, probably 5-6 years. And then I moved back to polio production. And at that time they were using the fermenter method, so that was and I stayed there for probably 13 or 14 years. And then I moved to, I moved to manufacturing technology and spent the last several years of my career in manufacturing technology. The last 6 years of my career I spent overseeing our seed bank, our master seed bank. Manufacturing technology, initially it was for any small-scale development that they would take it from small scale to large scale, like intermediate, to do all the fine work before it went large scale. If manufacturing was having trouble with one thing, they would investigate it and on a small scale do experiments to see if it could be improved. So it was more of a process improvement type of, and it became named manufacturing technology because it encompassed a lot of things, and that's the name of the department. I was only there a few years, and then I started to work with the Master Seed Bank. I became involved in our Master Seed Bank, and that was really most of my efforts were involved with that. The Master Seed Bank, it houses all our bacterias and viruses, all our master seeds, some working seeds. there was a time on site that each department kept their own viruses. But the problem would be is if something went wrong with the building or if the hydro went out, their freezers could go down. So the Master Seed Bank evolved to keep a certain stock in a very safe and secure environment, that if anything catastrophic happened, that we would still have some master and working seeds for each product. And also it housed things that were no longer used anymore. So it had to be very secure, safe and secure. And it's also become a regulation as well, that we have to show that our seeds that we use in production are not tampered with in any way. And certainly in the last 10 years, regulations became greater, which they should, and it became, I don't want to say harder, it just became more regulated, and there was more rules that had to be followed and more inspections than there ever was, and that just shows you that we're committed to making a safe product that we can sell anywhere in the world. I think probably the most satisfying thing about being at Connaught, Sanofi, is that you could stay at a company and still move around and learn totally different things each time you moved around. Probably the Master Seed Bank was probably the most challenge. I never really felt it challenging, but I'm just saying as far as the responsibility of it. And it was watched 24 hours a day, and we were on call to come in if there was a problem. So you'd have to do a lot of troubleshooting. You had to know just by the temperatures that maybe a freezer was going to not functioning properly, and then there were certain viruses in there that, we always had backup freezers that we can move things to if one freezer broke down. So there was always that responsibility of maintaining that stock, and especially when you know that that's the stock for the entire company. So there was a lot of responsibility involved. There's a retirees association, and we meet 4 times a year. We meet on site here. The president of the retirees association sends out emails and keeps everyone informed of current news. If anyone's passed away, we know about that, or anything upcoming. And when we have a retirees meeting here, we're brought up to date on any latest company news, any new vaccines that are being made, or any new items that might interest us. And if we have any questions as well, there's a forum for us to ask questions as well. So we're still very much part of the company.